Am I the a-hole for sending the police to my stepsister's wedding? I, female 32, lost my mom when I was 23. It was by far the most traumatic loss I had experienced. I just couldn't and didn't want to accept her death. It was unfair, untimely, and preventable. I got in therapy and was doing better, but I had issues with my dad's new wife and her daughter who's 25 and just got married weeks ago. We do not have a close relationship, but we were cordial enough to sit at dinner tables. My stepsister treats me as a relative and was as much distant from me. But after my father got sick, we had to see each other a lot. I'm handling his care while stepmom works full-time and stepsister doesn't do much, though she's always visiting when I moved in to help my dad. Before that, I was living with my ex, so returning home was just in time. I brought with me all of my mom's belongings, and my stepsister showed interest in my mom's necklace and asked if she could borrow it to wear it at her wedding. I refused, and she tried every method to convince me, so I had to put it in a place where I thought it'd be safe after my stepmother got involved. As the wedding approached, they both kept convincing me to let my stepsister have it. She bragged about affording a better one, but it was a matter of showing who's in control. I stood my ground and told them how serious I was, so they backed off. I didn't attend the wedding to stay with my dad. I remember wanting to change where I was hiding the necklace while the house was empty, but I found it was gone. After searching for hours, I called my stepmom, and she said not to worry as my stepsister took it and will return it when the wedding is over. But it was clear that I won't see it till after the honeymoon, since she said her daughter was staying at a hotel. I screamed at her to return it, but she argued about not wanting to leave the guests, and the wedding already started. I told her I'd get it myself, but she forbid me from coming, saying she'd have to keep me out of wanting to make a scene. So, I called the police and explained to them what was happening. I informed them my stepsister intended to leave for her honeymoon with my property. The police were sent to where the wedding was being held, and they were able to retrieve the necklace from my stepsister. She and my stepmom were in shock and livid. She, stepmom, returned home and kept shouting at me, calling me petty and crazy to send the police to my stepsister's wedding, ruining it and humiliating them over a piece of jewelry. She was screaming at my sick dad, telling him to handle me after the stunt that I pulled at the wedding. I defended myself, saying I only wanted an item that belonged to me, that they took without permission, returned. She argued further that I could have waited to get it back, but I chose to burn the bridge with my stepsister, and said that she considers me dead after this. She said stuff I can't mention here, but all I can say it was a bad night. I might have overreacted by getting the police involved, but I had no guarantee of getting the necklace back since I have experience with them in the past. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Don't want the police at your wedding? Don't steal your stepsister's necklace and then brag about it. Seems easy enough to me. OP, your stepfamily is a pit of a-holes. May I suggest a safety deposit box at a bank for your precious items? I just said the same thing. How stupid can stepsister be to steal something, make it known she stole it, then not expect to be held accountable for theft? Yes, but also, am I the only one wondering how awesome this necklace must be to risk it? I'm expecting a sapphire and diamond collar of at least 2 inches. Not the a-hole. They took your late mother's property and tried to flip it on you like you burned the bridge? Get out of here with that mess. You are not the a-hole in any way, shape, or form. Good riddance. Hopefully, they never bother you again. Put all your mother's things in a safe, safety deposit box, or storage unit. I admit that I'm the type that makes hasty decisions when angry. I was angry in that moment. I had a terrible feeling and let my anger control the situation. I won't lie to regret getting the police involved, but all they did was just retrieve the item. She says you are dead to her after this? Well, she should be dead to you. She was in the wrong. They both were wrong. You don't want the respect of people like that because their respect would make you wonder if you are turning out like them. Yeah, I don't have her on my social media, but my number was blocked by her. My stepmom kept saying that she was going to make sure the items returned, but telling me no when I wanted to come take it back myself made me lose my patience. OP, check your father's will ASAP and see if you can get some control over his affairs. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for having a family dinner after my sister's wedding? My sister Jess, 30 female, got married on Saturday morning. I, 26 female, did not attend for a multitude of reasons, but primarily because I don't care for her fiancé Jay and we don't get along. So I figured I would skip to allow for them to have a happy time without me being a Debbie Downer and raining on their parade. Due to the wedding, several family members were in town, some that I hadn't seen for quite a few years and may not get to see again before they get too old or pass away, as they are older or live out of the country. Since I didn't go to the wedding, I figured that I would host a family dinner later in the evening from the wedding, as most family members are scheduled to leave on Sunday or Monday and everyone would be split up. The wedding began at 11 a.m., and the dinner was scheduled to begin at 5 p.m. I do live about an hour from the venue, so I knew most people would be on the road by 4 p.m. But I figured that seeing as the wedding started at 11, 5 hours would be plenty of time for everyone to visit and mingle with Jess at the actual wedding. At around 4:30, Jess called me, completely irate, yelling, swearing, and just generally saying harsh things about how I'd stolen her guests and ruined her day in multiple ways, especially since I didn't invite her and Jay to the dinner. Again, the fiancé that I don't get along with. I didn't beg anyone to come to the dinner, nor did I pressure anyone and left it open to them all about whether or not they wanted to come, which most of them did. I thought this was a fine compromise since it would decrease the tension of everyone involved and make for smoother sailing. But Jess sent me an incredibly nasty message and has blocked me from her Instagram and Facebook. I'm unsure if whether or not she blocked my phone number or if she's just not responding. I didn't think the dinner idea was so terrible, but my boyfriend feels like it was an a-hole move and that I should try to apologize to her, but I need more perspectives. So, am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. That is a prick move to have a dinner the same night as her wedding without running it past her first. Also, who has dinner at 5 p.m. other than 4-year-olds? Allow for them to have a happy time without me being a Debbie Downer and raining on their parade. No, you didn't rain on their parade. You straight up stole it. You couldn't manage to get over yourself and put a smile on for a few hours to be at your sister's wedding. And if that's not bad enough, you straight up stole her guests from the reception and you don't think you're the a-hole. You're sorely mistaken. This is absolutely awful, and you should be ashamed of yourself for ruining your sister's wedding. You're the a-hole. I don't like my sister's husband for legitimate reasons, but I still went to their wedding because she's my sister. Refusing to go and then having all our family round for food would have been so rude. You're the a-hole. I'm having a hard time believing that you didn't do this on purpose to spite them. You took a chunk of their big day. Couldn't you at least have waited until the next day for your dinner? She 100% did it on purpose. Even her boyfriend called her out, but she needs more perspectives to apologize. A-hole move. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not inviting my dad and his mistress to my wedding? I am getting married soon and I have not invited my father or his mistress. I cheated on my mother and essentially screwed her over. I want nothing to do with that person I sadly have to call human and a father. He spent my goddamn college fund, which was almost 80% of my mother's money, on his mistress, and has only called me for money despite having a bunch of his own, knowing we're barely surviving, just so he could belittle us. He has always expected things in life without doing the heavy work, and my grandmother encourages it, which is why I grew up to be a deadbeat father and entitled. I got a phone call from him expecting a wedding invitation. I laughed and said no, then hung up. Less than an hour later, my grandmother called to cheer me out and said I was being an ungrateful and spiteful brat. I almost choked on the food I was eating when hearing this. I can agree it was spiteful to laugh at him, but he laughed at me for years and nobody cared. But when I laughed at him one time, they acted like I murdered someone or something? Now, my dad's family's on my case about being rude. I wanted to know if I was being spiteful or ungrateful. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. And I'd cut that grandma loose right along with him. This. Also not the a-hole. Ungrateful for what? Being treated like crap? If so, then yes, you are ungrateful for that. They can all stay home. Not the a-hole. He spent your college fund on his mistress? I literally haven't met this guy, yet I hate his guts. To hell with it. Screw that guy. He doesn't deserve to go to your wedding. Exactly. I'd be like, not only did you spend the money you put aside for my college on your mistress, you also spent the money my mother also put aside for college on your mistress, you freaking bottom feeder. Get screwed. And block grandma too. The a-hole apple didn't fall very far from the a-hole tree. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your wedding, your guests. You're not obligated to extend an invitation to anyone you don't want there. It doesn't even matter if the person in question is family, friend, niece, or in this case, an a-hole. You don't want them there? Done. No invitation. That is all. Not the a-hole. Start hanging up on your toxic grandma too. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for inviting my whole family to my wedding because of my cousin's joke? Joke is in quotes because I don't know what to call it. Something my cousin said is dividing my family. My partner, 22 female, and I, 24 male, are getting married in 6 weeks. She's Eastern European and I'm from Spain, where we live. We're having a small wedding with less than 15 people invited. Just our families and one close friend. This is partially because of COVID, but mostly because we prefer it that way. Last week I was spending time with my family, and my cousin, 25 male, starts to talk to me about the wedding. He says congratulations, but he says it with a smirk on his face, and it sounds like he is taking the piss. I tell him thank you, but ask what is so funny. He's asked me literally, how much did it cost? While my jaw basically hit the floor. I ask him what is he talking about. It makes it even worse, he says. I'm thinking of getting a Slavic girl myself. I was so shocked I couldn't find any words. I just started muttering, I'm leaving, over and over again as I put on my shoes to leave. I don't remember any of the words he said to me after that. My family has made some distasteful jokes about my interethnic relationship before, but never jokes about trafficking before. When he said that, it made me furious. It didn't sound like he was joking. Even if he was, I feel that it crossed a line. I didn't know how I was going to tell my partner, but I knew that I wasn't going to allow my cousin in the same room as her anymore. After driving for 90 minutes to get home, I had enough time to think about it. I called my cousin and told him he is no longer invited to the wedding. The next day, I got spammed with calls, texts, and voice messages from my parents, uncle, and sister telling me that I'm overreacting over a joke and causing divide in the family. So I told them all that they're also uninvited. My parents are not contributing to the cost of the wedding. They gave us €1,000 for an engagement gift, but after being uninvited, they demanded it back. Even though I feel that you shouldn't be allowed to take back a gift, I gave it back to avoid drama and to tell them that we don't need their money. I don't think I'm overreacting because it's not fair to my partner to have people there on her big day who think that way about her. Even though my family make half of our total guests, I don't want anybody there who feels that way. I'm okay with having none of them there. Am I overreacting / am I the a-hole? Edit. It looks like there is some confusion. I didn't uninvite the rest of my family just because he said the joke. I did that because they were defending the joke and saying he shouldn't lose his invites because of it. Not the a-hole. They crossed a line and disrespected your wife. They don't need to be there. They didn't just disrespect his to-be wife. They disrespected Opie. It says a lot about them that they think that lowly of him. They also disrespected victims of actual human trafficking by making their situations the butt of an unfunny joke. Not the a-hole. Your wife is about to become your most important family. Your chosen legal family. Her over everything. Hell, even if they were in a domestic partnership or dating, this would still be unacceptable. Not the a-hole. The comments your cousin and family make about her is very disrespectful. You're not overreacting at all. And if they can't see or understand that what they are saying is not okay, then they don't need to be there. If things were the other way around, I'm sure they would be upset if things like that were said to them. Super not the a-hole. It may not mean much to you, but I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself and your future wife this way. Anyone who thinks this is some joke does not have a real place in your life. And apparently this is not even a one-time thing, just a horrifyingly egregious example. Some soul-searching and heartfelt apologies are in order on their side.